Hello and welcome to another edition of Adam's Music Box, where it's been a sad occasion because the last living member of that classic lineup of Badfinger has died, and that's Joey Molland. And that sort of brings a kind of tragic chapter in music history to an end because while Badfinger sort of rose up like a rocket and had so much success with so many singles, the lead singer of the band, Pete Ham, died in a tragic suicide at the age of 27, as you know, they call it the 27 Club. And that brought the band, at least in its sort of well known and famous lineup, to an end. And now, after dying of natural causes, the Joey Molland left us, and with that, Badfinger is we knew it is no more. But they were a really, really good band, and they played with so many interesting people. Gary Wright played on their albums. The great Gary Wright, who was in Spooky Tooth, of course, he's the Dreamweaver. The great producer and one-time Blood, Sweat, and Tears member Al Cooper was on their albums. Leon Russell, George Harrison. They were called sort of the next Beatles. I mean, ELO were called that too. And I mean, I don't like that kind of label, but the point is they were considered hot stuff. And they had so many interesting singles. And I would say that if I had to pick the sort of quintessential album, it would be Straight Up from 1971. This had Baby Blue, written by Pete Ham, which I think Rick Beato said is one of his favorite songs, and also written by Ham is my favorite Badfinger song, and I think one of the finest singles of all time. And this is Day After Day. It's such a beautiful song with such a great sort of linear sense to it. Beautiful lyrics, beautifully sung by Pete Ham, and it's just one of those songs that I think is impossible not to love. And even though it got a lot of airplay throughout the world, people didn't really get sick of it compared to sort of some other songs out there because it was just really good. Another huge hit for the band was No Matter What from the album No Dice from the year before. No matter what you are, I will always be with you. You've heard it a million times, and it's just great. Before that, just sort of working backwards on their album Magic Christian Music, which had a very interesting album cover. Come and Get It was a huge hit, and that was actually one of the few hits they had that wasn't written by the band itself. It was written by Paul McCartney as a kind of gift to the band, which again, their associations with McCartney, with Harrison, it kept the sort of Beatles mystique going. But these people were great musicians on their own merits, and they wrote a kind of contemplative yet accessible pop rock music that was sort of just what the doctor ordered at the time. And they went on all the big shows. I think they were on Midnight Special. They were on shows throughout Europe. They were on shows everywhere because people really liked their music. But come 1975, the party was over, so to speak. And it was just very sad that that's how it ended. And it sort of has created I don't know, a bit of a melancholic tinge to the whole history of the band. But what I think is most important is just remember the great singles. Because, yeah, they had great albums, but I always think of Badfinger as a really good singles band who were just able to sort of come up with at least two to three singles per album and just hit it out of the park with just well constructed, well played, well sung songs. And now that Joey's gone, it's sort of it's symbolically the end of an era, even though in a broader sense the band as we came to know it ended in 75. So rest in peace, and for you out there, celebrate all of the legacies of the members of Badfinger by listening to some of their greatest songs. As always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.